All right, day 2 recap episode JM Football. We are here in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. Myself, I am Justin Penik from Talking Giants JM Football. To my left, we have the Football Grump from the Just Giants podcast, Bobby Skinner from Talking Giants JM Football, and we have Robert Schmitz from Windy City Gridiron. Fellas, we did not get as much sun today, which is good. The weather was certainly a lot cooler, but I think the intensity was heating up on the practice field. How do you like that radio transition?
It was fun, and I on the first practice I just focused it all in O-line, D-line. Second practice, I was like, I got to watch this wide receiver group versus this DB group, and saw action nonstop. Like, I'm very happy with how practice played out today. Where yesterday I was probably a little more frustrated. Where do we want to start? We could start just total bummer and the guy who everyone wants to talk about, Rashee Rice, where it's more negative than positive. Or we could talk about a guy like Jayden Reed, who's just a good player and continuing to make prove that he belongs and he's going to be a guy who's productive in the NFL for a long time. Where do you want to go?
Let's start with Jayden Reed because we didn't really talk about him at all yesterday.
Sure.
Jayden Reed, he was someone we went and looked at him midseason this year. He's someone that just wins at all three levels of the field. He knows how to tempo his routes. And today, he was winning deep. He won on that post corner. He had, I think, just the go ball that he won, and had it's kind of hard to do down here, especially the timing on that post corner and then the go ball. He had that win. It was really impressive. And he's someone who wins at all three levels, and he's shown down here, hey, he can win in that, that 20-plus yard of the field.
I think he's been the best wide receiver just from a performance standpoint through these first 2 days for both of these teams. I think he's just been the best wide receiver performance on the field.
I'll take you one step further, Justin. He looks borderline uncoverable out there, at least with the DBs that are out there right now. Now, we are talking about a receiver that's 5'10 and a half. He's 190 pounds. And when you think about that, the fact that he's got great foot frequency probably isn't going to surprise you. A lot of these guys are bursty, but where I think Reed's separating himself is that he's extraordinarily competitive at the catch point. His hands are steel traps, and he's physical within his route stem so that when he does gain positioning, he's not losing it or allowing himself to get bumped off of his routes. The Senior Bowl game itself will be really interesting to see how he handles some of the more physical man corners on the other side of the ball. Right. But against the corners that they've got in the national team, he is just crushing them on almost every one-on-one.
I could see him coming away with the Senior Bowl MVP, especially like you said, facing those corners if he can do that. And again, he's someone who has slot outside flexibility. Obviously you're not going to put him on the outside a ton at 5'10", but he is a guy you can put out there and trust. He's not going to be your go up and get it guy all the time, but you can put him out there. So there's just so many different things you can do with him, and I don't worry about his size at all. I think he's going to, we said it yesterday briefly, it's just he's going to be a guy who is productive in the NFL. He's not going to be, top of the league, Pro Bowl, but he is someone that I'm very confident is going to be productive at the next level. I don't see any ability to not be that guy at the next level.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think there's not a whole lot of things that you're going to see that jump right off the page when you watch him. He's not going to fly off the line of scrimmage or barrel through press coverage or anything like that. But where he does separate himself, I think I agree with you, is just at the catch point. He will extend every bit of that length, which is why his size does not worry me at all. And he has strong and dependable hands, which at the end of the day is the most important thing a wide receiver can have.
Michael Wilson on the national side out of Stanford, two Stanford guys, Michael Wilson and Elijah Higgins. I think we all aren't big fans of Elijah Higgins after these couple of days. Michael Wilson, I didn't really watch much of him yesterday. Watched him today. It's this is a guy who can get quick separation, and I see why you guys were very hyped up on him yesterday.
He's a dude. I mean, it seems like the best thing I could say about Wilson, besides everything we already said, is that from day one to day two, it seemed like a receivers coach took him aside and said, hey, let's smooth things out a little bit. Don't fight contact as much as you are. Break smoother. Don't take as many steps. And today, dominant day for him. Major, probably, especially in that first practice, I'd give him the most improved player award if there was one. He was open constantly in both team drills and one-on-ones, looked much smoother, and at 6'1.5", 215, all these things, I mean, we're talking about an exciting player.
Who was the corner that stood out to you most on the national team?
Well, I mean, there's only one. It's Caillou Blue Kelly from Stanford, and he had a huge day today. Yep. He had a pick six in which I didn't see who it was that he ripped it from, but he ripped it right out of their hands and took it to the house.
Higgins.
Was it? Okay. And he had another one where he broke super hard on the ball.
Dropped the interception.
He dropped an interception, but it was just a beautiful play from start almost the finish.
Which is 2 good days in a row for him. And I know you were high on him coming in here, Grump.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I really tried to key in on the corners a little bit, and I was watching him in the team drills, and that's the only time I watched him. I wasn't watching him in the one-on-ones today. In the team drills, he was like, okay, this is by far the best corner for this national team, or at least he was playing the best out of all those.
I think he feels the most comfortable out there, so you can see it more in the team drills with him because he's not. As opposed to the American corners, the American team corners that are very, very grabby and physical the whole way, he will stay in lockstep with people and stay in their hip pocket, but he's not going to frustrate them super hard. He's not going to get too many DPI or illegal contact calls. So you can see why he would shine more in team drills than he would in one-on-ones.
Do we want to go national trenches or stay on the wide receivers, DBs, in the American side?
I thought Trey Tucker had a pretty solid day. Ronnie Bell made some catches. Ronnie Bell, he was getting hit, sometimes in the middle of his routes in 1v1s. He was really getting knocked off his path a little bit. Let's. What else do we have in the national side, Robert?
As far as wide receivers go, not quite on the national. Like shifting back to the American, I know we talked a lot yesterday about how guys like Xavier Hutchinson and Jonathan Mingo didn't look like themselves in one-on-ones, and I thought they rebounded well today. Especially X. I mean, Xavier Hutchinson, long-armed, physical when he needs to be receiver, had a specific out route in the one-on-ones where he put his hands in his DB's chest, drove him back to the catch point, got extension, referee didn't call anything, got outside, and made a really nice catch, easy route for the quarterback. Seeing them bounce back is nice because, frankly, if we left the week thinking that they didn't belong across the field from some of these corners, that'd have been a real worry. But inconsistency, that's the name of the game in the draft circuit.
And Jonathan Mingo, who might have been the most open on any play today, he actually got pressed up a little bit, and I think a lot of these guys are struggling to press. But once he kind of got through that, he shook. I can't remember who the corner was.
It was Julius Brent.
Julius Brent on a post route, and
beautiful.
had 15 yards of separation. And he made some plays in team drills. Mingo was someone I was really intrigued with coming in. I liked him. Now, I feel dirty talking about this guy on the American side.
We gotta.
I was actually going to go Tank Dell because we'll go Rashee Rice. Is because and Justin has said it, that this is an atmosphere for the little guy. It gives you a lot of space to operate. But Tank Dell, forget that he's 160 pounds. If he was Jaden Reed's size, he would be the star of this. Everyone would be talking about him. He consistently shakes guys in coverage. He wins every single rep. And one reason he may not get talked about is the quarterbacks continually miss him too.
Yes. I think you can put a little bit on that on his length. But I also think just generally today the quarterbacks for the American team were overthrowing a little bit, possibly as a reaction to yesterday's overly grabby DB play. But also I don't think Dell plays at 5'8", because he really can jump high. He is very good at high pointing the ball. He uses the full extension of his body. He does not appear to be 5'8" on the field. Again, another day for him where he just shined. I mean,
his cuts just look so much more crisper. Everything that he does is just so much more smoother, crisper, faster than everybody else out there.
Everybody.
Everybody. And
everybody.
We'll have to see if he can translate. I mean, everybody. when we do think about the Senior Bowl, we got to remember that it's just 1 year ago that Calvin Austin was the standout, one of the best receivers in the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
And he hasn't made an impact in the NFL in part because of his size. And so with Tank Dell, I do think that if you're waiting until the 4th, 5th round where the picks aren't quite as valuable as they are on day 2, you're probably still getting decent value. And who knows? Maybe you've got an electric slot receiver. But I know I'm one of these list guys that's print out the list of how many guys at his size have been successful. And when receivers have been drafted under 5'10" and under 165 since 2000, if we summed all of their catches up ever, it's 19 catches for 304 yards and 1 touchdown. So he's up against the odds, but that doesn't mean he's not playing well.
Those are big odds.
Yeah.
Those are big odds. Yeah, so I do feel like Tank Dell's production this week is mostly coming from just this is the environment. If you have a corner that's trying to be sticky and they're trying to just follow your every move and they know that they're on an island, that whenever kind of quick move that he makes, he's going to leave a guy in the dust. So I do feel like kind of his production this week is a product of the environment. But Rashee Rice.
Speaking of everybody, Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice is supposed to be the guy that kind of was the star here, right? One, he plays the wide receiver position. He had first round potential. And this is something that showed up with him at SMU. He faced a lot of off coverage. He is really, really struggling with press, and it almost seems like he's ahead. He had a couple drops today too, that were a little bit of stickier coverage, but like balls that he should have caught, and we've seen him catch at SMU.
Sure.
I think that has to, like, if you were thinking like, hey, Rashee Rice can like solidify himself as a first rounder here, I think he solidified himself as a second rounder.
I have to agree with that, man. He had no catches as far as I could see in one-on-one drills today. None. And I think he was the only receiver so like when we talk about like separating yourself or solidifying yourself, because he is getting first round buzz, he had pretty much the same day as guys like Jalen Wayne. Think about that.
I think guys like Jalen Wayne had better, like Tyreek Stevenson, who is the corner out of Miami, that I love him. He played really well today. He was pressing guys up. I think they played a little more zone, and I loved his route combination recognition. Showed off some really good stuff there. But his one bad play of the day, or his worst play of the day, was Jalen Wayne's out of South Alabama, played college ball here, beat him deep, and that's like, okay, let's go watch the film on Tyreek and see if he does have an issue, giving up the sideline and losing those and getting stacked deep. But yeah, I mean, Rashee Rice has been a huge disappointment. Like I said, he should be the star here. It doesn't mean he's going to be the best receiver in the class, but coming here playing against this competition, he should have been the star, and he's just not. He's just been somewhat solid.
I can't tell what it is about that SMU environment, but even just thinking back to having watched the tape on Rashee Rice, I would swear to you he's bigger than his listing is.
Yeah, came in at 6 foot here.
I would swear to you he's 6'3". I would swear to you he's 220. I would swear to you he's a 4'4" guy, and I'm not certain about any of those things. I think he's doing a decent job posting guys up. So getting inside leverage, for instance, on an inside break and being exactly one hip's worth away from the DB, but he's not DeAndre Hopkins.
There's not as much juice as I thought I was going to say.
Right, and he's not huge. I would expect him to be separating a little bit more like, honestly, Xavier Hutchinson looks a little bit more like what I think I would expect him to be playing like, and he's just fading into the crowd, which is too bad.
Yeah.
Darius Rush is a corner that had a really nice day on zone day. He wasn't as poppy on man day yesterday, but today he ran some routes for his receivers. I thought, what is his name?
South Carolina, 6'2". Like he was. And one-on-ones, which are a wide receiver drill, like even you can win the rep, and the wide receiver will end up with the ball in his hands because there's no rush, there's a one-on-one. He basically was just a shutdown corner in that, and he'd even get beat off the line of scrimmage a little bit, and then he would just get in phase, and like he just I don't know if he's watching the hips or whatnot. He knows what the receivers are going to run, and he's undercutting those. And he had that yesterday on a comeback route where he ran the comeback route for the wide receiver, and for. Like we cover the Giants, we are in need of press long corners, and he did like an awesome job today.
You mentioned Stevenson before when we were talking about Rice. I just want to – he had a great day again today, and he played through a cramp the whole practice. He came off the field, went right back out there, and you could see every time he landed on the ground, he kind of had to re-stretch out that leg. It did not bother him, and this is a good group of wide receivers that he had to go against. So he had another good day again today. He was not somebody that was on my radar coming into this, and he's certainly put himself there now. So,
is there any other DBs you guys want to talk about from the American side or wide receivers that caught your eye?
Like one sentence on Darius Davis, because I thought he was the standout worst receiver yesterday.
Yes,
he also acquitted himself a little bit better today. Is he the siziest, most exciting receiver in the class? No, but he went from, I don't know if this guy's going to get drafted to, okay, this is why he got an invite.
Correct.
Going back to the national team on the offensive line, I told myself this morning I am watching the offensive line and the defensive line all day today. I'm not, I'll watch the other guys in team period, and that's where I saw some of the other stuff. Cody Mock, the tackle out of North Dakota State, who was a converted, came into college as a tight end. He's been working at guard, even got a couple center reps today. I usually, and this is a atmosphere like we talked about with Tank Dell, that the small school guys just seem to get love. They can compete with, they roll their shirts up. Quinn Miners of 2 years ago was one everybody loved.
Cody Mock has no teeth. No front teeth.
Yeah,
front
so
teeth.
it's a fun story to talk about small school guy. And I usually do like, yeah, but is he that good? And usually they're not. He has come in here and totally won me over. I came in like, okay, I want to watch him and then go watch his film to see how he performs against this better talent. And man, he comes off the line of scrimmage. He's got strength and athleticism in his legs. Like
he's in control.
He pancaked. It's Andre Carter, but he pancaked Andre Carter in a couple of run reps. And then in the pass pro, I was really impressed by his hand usage. Like he'd get hands on guys quickly, right? And then they would work their counters, and you'd see that left hand swing around, replace, get it in the hip, and like consistently doing that. Where I am very excited about him on a guy who I came in with no prior knowledge of, just knowing that he's the small school guy, moved from tight end, no film of him, where I am now excited to watch him. He's going to be one of my first full evaluations I'll get done once we leave Mobile.
No, I know Cody Mock is a guard, but remember Trevor Penning last year was that small school guy, and he just came in like a bat out of hell. He was totally out of control. Cody Mock, that small school guy, but he's coming in here in control. You're seeing the aggression, but you're also seeing that paired with the technique, and you're seeing the feet having good balance with your eyes and your head and stuff like that. So Cody Mock has been a lot of fun. Felt bad that we didn't actually mention him on yesterday's show, but I also figured, probably every show here is mentioning that this guy has long hair and no front teeth. But I'm glad we got a chance to talk about him today.
Yeah, you nailed it, man. The flash plays, the splash plays that you see highlights of from North Dakota State are all his aggression and his violence, right? He really does have the heart to knock somebody out. But to be technically sound as well, I mean, that puts him head and shoulders above a lot of people that come to the Senior Bowl. I thought Jared Patterson had a bounce back day today.
Yes, definitely.
He didn't have a great day, and I came into this thinking that Oluwatimi from Michigan was going to be my center guy. I was going to watch him, and I made that decision at the beginning of the college season.
Jared Patterson, school and team.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yes.
Got it.
And today, Patterson, I think, put himself way ahead of Oluwatimi at center. He looked very, very comfortable, and he held his own pretty well against a good
Keanu Benton, Wisconsin, he won versus Keanu Benton. Like you said, he had a rough day one. It wasn't very impressive. Day two, definitely his feet were moving. He was getting getting his hands on guys. Also, we were watching from the American team, Tyler Steen, who was a tackle at Alabama, and I was like, I put him fourth round if he's tackle. I want to see him at guard in Mobile, and he had some of the best reps today at guard. Just totally you can have a good rep in one-on-ones, but if in a game it looks like a bad rep, but it's a good rep for the one-on-one drill. He was just these are just dominant reps no matter who you're lining up for, where you are, what type of protection you are, where he was getting the chest. And it was DJ Dale, the first one out of his teammate from Alabama, where it's okay, this guy might have some juice. I know this time of year, it's we want to move every tackle with a guard, but he got his reps in at guard today and looked good.
And speaking of a tackle that I thought looked solid, and look, let's be honest, this isn't the show where we're going to talk about Darnell Wright, who looks fabulous. I mean, he looks like himself. We really might as well not. We can leave that at bay and talk about the guys that impressed us, right? Wanya Morris, who moved from Tennessee to Oklahoma, looks like he's got spry feet. I mean, there's definitely some technique work that he's still got to do, but he's somebody that might be a little bit raw. You could get him on day two and potentially get yourself a solid tackle on either side of the ball. I thought Zach Pickens on the inside had another really strong day. We watched a couple of sweet reps on his part, and Will McDonald is fast around that edge. Had a sweet spin move, beating Darnell Wright, as a matter of fact. So he's somebody to keep your eye on. I don't know how well he's going to defend the run. He's 225 pounds soaking wet. But, I mean, when you've got juice in the pass rush, the NFL will find a place for you.
He had some good reps in team drill. He got around the corner, like you said, on Darnell Wright, and then did that spin. And spin moves can look good in one. He kept his feet moving through it. Wasn't a lot of steps. Did really good. And you mentioned Zach Pickens. Him and John Michael Schmitz, who was one of my favorite guys from yesterday, and John Michael Schmitz.
He's the best interior offensive lineman.
Actually, yeah, I lied. He might be the best center.
He's strong. He gets his hands on guys. There was even a screenplay in team drill where he just laid a dude out, which is okay, dude. I like that. They got me. I told Grump, I was I needed that. I needed to see that today. Him and Zach Pickens, who are two guys who I think will probably go in the second round. They really had some good matchups today.
I'll flip it to national and stay with O-line. Jalen Duncan from Maryland.
He moved from left. He moved on both sides. He got the most reps today because DeJuan Jones was out with an illness, which was really frustrating. I wanted to see him today and guys adjust to him. He didn't have a dominant day, but you see the foot speed, you see the anchor ability, you see the patience in his hands. He's just going to be a solid player. I'm excited to get that full evaluation done on him because I think he's going to be someone who might. Like, he was getting a lot of hype earlier in the year, and then it just went away. I think he's someone who can sneak up into this, and like maybe even 31st, 30th in the draft.
I have to agree with that. I think he looks very comfortable. You were saying that he might be another guy that might move inside to guard, but
I was saying I hope he does because the Giants don't have any need for tackle.
he did have one. He had back-to-back plays where he kind of got. I think he got in his head more than it was anything technique or physical, where he got beat on an inside move and then they replayed the down and then he got beat on an outside move. It was just like, I think you're just thinking too much at this point. But he's another guy who just had another pretty solid day today.
I want to finish off with some miscellaneous stuff. I know we want to talk tight ends. Two guys I said I want to watch today, and I came away from very disappointed. And this was a week I was very excited for these two guys. Keon White out of Georgia Tech, the edge, and Isaiah McGuire, the edge out of Missouri. I wanted to see those guys overwhelm people with their strength. Like, they both have good speed to power ability. And on a bad note, they were moving those guys inside at times, and they don't look natural. They don't use their hands well in there. Like, they just have not done anything that's really flashed to me. And, like, Isaiah McGuire was just getting flat out shut down. I think it was against Wanya Morris. It's been pretty frustrating because those were two guys that I was excited to see down here. Like, work that speed to power. Let's see how they can do stuff. The one-on-one drill can be favorable for those guys, and they just haven't shown it. And like I said, they were putting those guys on the inside in team drills, just trying to get them some good film.
And sticking with miscellaneous disappointments, we literally forgot to talk about Andre Yoshivas, one of the more popular names given the Princeton connection, because he kind of faded into the background today.
He struggles. He cannot get off press. We thought he had a really nice catch on Tyreek Stevenson. It's like, oh, he didn't even get 1 foot in bounds on that. He was able to stack them on one play, but yeah, he's got to really work on being an actual wide receiver and not just 6'3" and fast.
And even beyond that, it seems like he's still really struggling, like we talked about yesterday, with that transition from being a track star with a ton of speed to how do I apply this in a vertical stem and then break on an in route, because he lost his balance and stumbled a couple times. I mean, he's not clean as far as an NFL receiver goes. When you got size and when you got speed, somebody's going to take a chance on you and see what their magic wide receiver coach can do, but not a great day for him today.
But O-line, D-line, we'll include edge in there. Any other kind of thoughts, observations on that? There's somebody that, I don't know, did we even get a chance to talk about him yesterday for Northwestern?
Adibare?
Yeah, our interior defensive lineman.
I think we tried to talk about him.
We didn't know how to say his name.
Yeah, he had some good reps. He had some other ones where he was shut down. But to me, he looked, and I'm talking about one-on-ones. When it came to team drills is when he looks a lot more comfortable. There were even some plays like I want to see is a D lineman is sprinting downfield chasing a running back on the other side of the field. Like, it's not his fault, but he's playing.
I think he has like one of the top speeds in terms of like defensive linemen here at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, and it's not just quick burst off the ball. It is long speed as well. He's an intriguing player. I'm going to keep watching him, but I mean, admittedly, did not watch a ton of Northwestern film coming into this.
I have a quick question because we're talking about like, there's a lot of good interior offensive linemen here. I mean, last year, you had Neil Farrell Jr., you had the Travis Jones of the world. Yeah, I feel like you had a lot of good interior defensive linemen. I think definitely the edge group is down this year. You just talked about how we're disappointed with a lot of edge rushers. Do we feel like just this front, this front five, front seven kind of on the back end on defense, do we feel like that's a little bit weaker this year?
The offense kicked their ass in 9-on-7 inside drills, which is a run drill where the defense knows you're running, and that doesn't happen. It doesn't mean if you're the Philadelphia Eagles working inside drills, it's made for the defense just to key off on the run and win. And they were whipping their ass. And you want to know one reason one big touchdown happened? Transition. Tight end out of Purdue.
Let's do it.
Payne Durham. You talked about him yesterday. I focused in on him today off of your talking points. He one-on-one run blocking drills. He was just dominating guys. And then in that inside drills, the run drills, Isaiah Foskey tries to get inside. He seals him off, and then I forget what back it was. Bounces off of him, and it was like a true touchdown, not like a they don't tackle here type.
I think
touchdown.
That was Hull from Northwestern.
Yeah, and he just sealed him off. Like, he is an ass kicker in the run game, and I'm excited. Like, those type of guys last for a long time.
He's the kind of guy where when we said yesterday he is as if you've got a sixth offensive lineman, that's not hyperbole. I mean, he is a phenomenal blocker, but where I feel like Payne is really going to make his money is that he's got remarkably quick feet and can break relatively well for a guy that's 260 pounds. Look, he's not going to blow you away with his top speed, but I did get the chance to talk to him after practice. He said that one of the guys that he models his game after, believe it or not, is Mike Allstott, who taught him
I
at
like
a
him
young
more now.
age
See that, yeah.
that he didn't have to go down when he didn't want to. And so he catches the ball. He'll drag piles. At one point, there's a highlight you can find on my Twitter where Payne drags the pile 17 yards downfield and then scores on the preceding play. He's a boss. And I thought the Clemson tight end, Davis Allen, looked pretty good today. Don't ask us about Josh Wiley if we're into positivity, and we can leave it at that.
Yeah, we don't have much time left, so we'll save that. We really don't like Josh Wiley at all for another time.
Tough.
Luke Musgrave, you guys really liked.
Oh, fast. I mean, might be immediately a top 3, top 5
Oregon State
speeder.
tight end.
Like, he's a vertical threat tight end. I mean, he runs so fast he can barely turn inside. But the fact that he's got that kind of weaponry is great. The American tight ends in general, I really like a lot of
They
them.
were working that 2-minute drill, and he had a really nice corner route, got
Really
both
nice.
feet in. Like I was like, that's okay. That's a nice flash play. That's going to help you.
How's Musgrave as a
grow.
blocker?
Musgrave, he's fine. I mean, he's one of those guys that's going to play at 240 in the NFL. So I call him bump blockers, like a Tyler Higbee type, where you're not asking him to win at the point of attack because it's a losing gambit. But he can sift block, and he should be able to handle that, like all the Jimmy Graham assignments, right? Evan Ingram, another decent one. You're not going to give him assignments you know he'll lose.
We did do that a lot, actually.
Different conversation. I think Will Mallory gives you a little bit more than you expect, but you shouldn't expect too much. I think to be really, really fast, it's Braden Willis out of Oklahoma. Super interesting. Raw
quick,
athletic
man.
ball of clay. I mean, he moves at, 248, like he's probably 215.
They haven't listed as fullback. Like,
which is weird.
I know we're not trying to talk too much Giants-centric, but like I want him as H-back for the New York Giants.
He'd be awesome.
For miscellaneous stuff, I came away very impressed with Tajay Spears, running back from Tulane.
He's a star down here.
2 huge plays today. One, I think, was the first play of 11 on 11. They just took to the house.
Just
Are
ripped
you
it.
kidding me? And then he had another one. Here, his speed is impossible to ignore. And there's certain drills where like that kind of doesn't matter, but like in 11 on 11, that matters. If nobody's catching you, that's something. And was not somebody that was just on my radar when I came down here. So I thought he was super impressive today.
Yeah, the two of you get a little bit of an elevator pitch of a player that we didn't get a chance to talk about that maybe you just want to pitch and say that this is a guy you should look out for very quickly.
Cam Jones, linebacker, Indiana. He played well yesterday. Played really well sideline to sideline today.
Love it, Robert.
Nobody knows Michael Wilson's name. I know we already talked about him because he didn't play on 2021 on account of a foot injury, and then he missed time in 2022, but you got to learn his name because guys that big shouldn't move that fast.
All right. This may be it in terms of our on location.
It's not going to rain tomorrow.
It's not going to rain.
We're doing the dance. It's not going to rain.
Sundance.
The weather in Mobile always lies to us, but if this is it in terms of on location, thank you so much. We'll have a day 3 recap no matter what. Thank you to Robert Schmitz for always hopping on with us. Check out Windy City Gridiron. We will see you tomorrow for a day 3 recap, or at least I hope we'll see you. Tune in. Love you. See you then. Goodbye. I suck at outros.